And one. What? What is this? What is this? They won again? Yeah. They are no longer the worst team in the NHL. They have 2 wins. Woohoo! Let's talk about it right now here on Teal Town After Dark. Yeah! Okay, maybe I got a little too excited. They're still the worst team in the NHL because they're 2-10-1. But I digress. Good evening, everyone. It is November 9th, 2023, and your San Jose Sharks take down a Canadian team. Or are you going to talk about that tomorrow, TSN or Sportsnet? I bet you will. Ha! Sharks win 3-2 over the Edmonton Oilers. Yeah, I guess McDavid sucks now. I don't know. Welcome to this edition of Teal Town After Dark. This is your live interactive Sharks post-game. We do this after every game. So if you want to be part of the show, chat with us and fellow Sharks fans on the page or the app. Follow us on the social. Find everything at Teal Town USA. And if you want to support the pod, hit us up on Venmo at Teal Town USA. Or, really simple, just hit us up in a super chat donation on here. Woo! See what happens when I take a week off from this show? Oh my goodness, things change for the good. I am Eric Curl alongside a guy who he's been away for a while, folks. Just remember, we held him to watch all 800 potential draftees for next year's draft since the draft of last year. Mark Eisenberg, what's happening, buddy?
Not much, man. It's so great to be back. It has been a while. I think it's been since the draft. So it is fantastic to be here on such a good night, too, with this wonderful victory.
I mean, this is, when we saw the schedule come out, I'm like, oh, boy, that's a tough start. And then Edmonton comes in. I'm like, oh, we're going to – that's the one where I thought, okay, that'll be the 10 spot.
Yeah, the whole world was watching tonight, watching the 2 worst teams in the league face off. It's absolutely fantastic.
And then what happened?
Back-to-back wins.
Oh,
Back-to-back
man.
wins.
I never thought we'd see this year, especially how the start began. My goodness, my oh me. But yes, the Sharks come in following a 2-1 victory over the Flyers to get their first one of the year. In between that, they added Kalen Addison from the Minnesota Wild, which we'll get into a little bit during the game, but he makes his San Jose debut. For the Oilers, I think everybody expected maybe an 8-2-1 start, but they start 2-8-1. They lose to the Canucks for the 3rd time on Monday. I know it's goaltending, I know it's defense, but my goodness. What do you think it is for Edmonton right now?
I don't know. And like you saw it a little bit tonight, even with McDavid and Draisaitl. They did not look themselves early on. Late in the game, McDavid started turning it on. He looked a little dangerous. But that team just look. Everyone knows the goaltending there is an absolute catastrophe. It's brutal, like horrible, brutal goaltending.
Oh,
but that being said, like you still have 2 of the best players in the world, right? You can't be performing like this.
Right. And there's so many. The chat's just going off. It's just so freaking great. Bully McGuire, proud of my team tonight. Jerry F, a Sharks win. Dave even saying, how hard do you think the Sharks broke the Oilers tonight? Hopefully they can drop off Jay Woodcroft at Texie Arena tonight. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. But, but everybody's having fun with it. It's good to see everybody in here. So let's get at it. First period. I mean, Edmonton dominated. I think they held the Sharks without a shot for like 12 minutes. And it's like just a matter of, it almost seemed like it was a matter of time before, okay, when's Draisaitl going to score? When's McDavid going to score? And it didn't happen.
Yeah. And then we had been asking for a while, right, to get Eklund with Hertl.
Yep.
And now we've got a couple games in a row. They're looking good. And what happens in that first period? They score a goal.
Yeah.
So
Fabian Zetterlund, literally all alone in the slot. I love when I'm able to take screenshots of it. So I had to take a screenshot of this when Zetterlund takes a shot. I mean, there's 5 Oilers around him, and he's got the slot all by himself, like literally the entire slot, and essentially half the net, all in there, and they're just starting to connect big time. Especially Hertl with that nice setup pass to make it 1-0. Yeah. That was a beauty, and I know it's early, but that might have been a backbreaker. We've seen it so many times happen against the Sharks in years past, Park, where they just dominate a period and next thing you know, just fall apart. It's like, my goodness.
Yeah, and it's good to see Zetterlund producing, right? Like, after the trade last year, he was just missing in action. He could not score. He really couldn't do much. He fell to the fourth line, but now he's got his 4th goal of the season, leading the team in scoring. Like, this is good stuff.
LM in the chat. Jack Campbell lost to Abbotsford 4-1 tonight. Oh, jeez. That's not helping. But yeah, it's good stuff to see, and it's just a very surprising score. And Ricky is, I would say, a lot of people right now. The Oilers just want to tank off, and y'all are celebrating Shake's head. Team Tank disapproves. Ricky, I get you, and I would love for Celebrating to come home. They weren't going to go 180-1.
Exactly.
As much as it was looking like that as of a week ago, it's nice to have them win a couple of games.
In seasons like this, these are the small victories right here.
Right.
These are the things we have to enjoy.
Like, I mean, I can pull up the wild card standings and be that guy and be like, oh, the Sharks are only 8 points out of a playoff spot, but I won't, So, and Creepy Coop, and this kind of reminds me of with the trade show with Timo Meier. Devils fans may have been right that he's a solid middle 6-wing winger, and he's taking advantage of being on the top line with Hertl.
Yeah, and I mean, that's pretty much what we were hoping for out of him, right? Like, no one has delusions about him being some top line scorer who's gonna, drop 30 or 40 goals. But we wanted someone who can provide depth scoring, and that's, I mean, right now he's paired with the big guys, but he's providing that scoring. That's what we want.
Yeah.
What's his pace right now?
Yeah, and his 4th of the season. It's nice to see someone producing. It's nice to see Tomas Hertl get on the scoreboard. He got his 2nd goal of the season. A nice, almost tipped pass that goes right to Hertl from Zetterlund via a Hotyuk to make it 2-1 after Darnell Nurse with a sweet shot there early in the period where he's like, okay, minute 56 in, and you're like, they're not going to go away. It's not like they're going to fall apart or anything like that. But you see Nurse with that shot. Draisaitl gets one of the assists. Shocking. But to make that 1-1, and then Hertl comes back about midway through the period with that open shot, and Skinner leaving the net wide open again, which is crazy.
Yep, and like you said, the 2nd assist, Okhotiuk, another player of the Meier trade, which it's nice to see him in the lineup as well. But the key to that is we see Hertl celebrating a goal. Like, he looks happy. You see that, and a goal and an assist now. So what's he up to? I think 9 points on the season.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's, despite the Sharks' scoring troubles, he's producing, right? He's not scoring a lot of goals, but he's up to 9 points. So not terrible. Not terrible.
And I mean, granted, goal scoring up until last week has been few and come by. It's like, the Sharks have fewer goals than Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
Penguins scored more. Yeah, we know.
Any opportunity to post that everyone was trying to post it. Like the Hughes brothers have more points than the Sharks, right? Matthews more goals than the Sharks. Just ripping into us.
But we didn't see any ripping of the Maple Leafs, right? Or any ripping of the Oilers, right? No, we had to go over a team in California, of course. It's fine. You can do what you want to do, and they definitely deserved it too. But you have fun with the Oilers tomorrow morning, gang. I hope you will. But second period, everything seemed to be calm. One thing that happened actually back in the first period, Eklund looked like he was gonna get a bunch of love from the national broadcast team tonight. Doing his part, definitely defensively too, not just on the offensive side.
Saw him on the penalty kill. He had that nice play where he stripped the puck from McDavid, going in alone on the breakaway. He's looking good. You're not just seeing the offense from him. You're seeing like kind of an all-around game, which I'm excited about.
Right. Yeah, and it's nice to see all around because it's really, I mean, like Big Bird would say, who else thought they would blow that 2-goal lead in the last 2 minutes? That would be so Sharks. Let's be honest here. It would be just how they would fall apart. It's just one of those things that happen. And in the third period, Zadina gets a nice 2-on-1. That line worked well. Carpenter with the hard work, getting the puck out, battling nerves. Sturm picks it up with a nice 2-on-1, dishes it to Zadina. Bam! That ends up being your game winner with just under 2 minutes into the third period. And the funny part is that this is what was. It was kind of like role reversal. It's like the Seinfeld do the opposite episode, where the Sharks usually gave up the goal the last 2 minutes or the first 2 minutes, Mark, and nice to see
backbreaker.
Yeah, and it's so nice to see for sure. So it's like
that was an exciting goal, and also Zadina's one of those guys that I'm really pulling for this year.
Same.
As you've already mentioned, everyone knows I support the draft. I follow it really closely, and whenever I see those guys who are in the top 10, the pressure that's on them, and he's just one of those guys who his career really hasn't developed. So the minute he was brought into San Jose, I think everyone was pretty excited about that, to bring in a former, what was he, 6th overall or 5th overall?
Something like that. I know he was a first-round pick. Yeah.
Exactly. So you bring him in, and it's just he's a guy that you kind of hope he finds his game. So it's good to see him scoring. I know he was almost pulled out of the lineup a few games back.
Yep.
So good to see him score a goal.
And nice to fight back and do the things that you need to do to get that W going. Bully McGuire, wait until Eklund grows up a little bit, puts on more muscle. Dude is going to be dangerous. I would love to see that. And I loved seeing Hertl and company kind of defend when the Oilers were starting to go after him a little bit too. From Medkitch, I thought Z was going to be so from last year, but hopeful for him in the future. Yeah, he's definitely started to show his hands in there. From the Clutch Canuck, you guys are America's team tonight. Sharks will be Canucks friends for the remainder of the season. Okay, I know partly because it'll be 10-2 the next time we play Vancouver, but for that SG Sports Talk channel, I'm a proud Indian American. I'm a proud Indian American. And I was not able at the game tonight on a night where they were celebrating Diwali, which is a festival of lights, which is basically a triumph of good over evil. Fitting, SG. Glad to have you here tonight as well. And Dana, hi Dana, you're like closer to Mark than I am right now, distance wise. I fell asleep during the second period and woke up 10 minutes ago. LMFAO. Nugent Hopkins would make it a interesting game late with about 2.5 minutes to go, but the Sharks shut him down, even with a penalty to Mikael Granlund, who, if there is a tough part to talk about, Granlund's had a bit of a struggle lately. I wonder if he's still hurting a little bit.
Came out of that Carlson trade who might be of some value for the Sharks to then flip later on, but we're not seeing that so far. But you He's got time. He's got a long time until the trade deadline. So
Right. AJ, thanks so much. In 13 games, the Sharks have been outshot 457 to 315. I had the thing going here. I'm almost certain. I hate to do this while I'm on the air, but I mean, let's see. I think they've had like 20 now, like more so about 33 shots or 33 periods, somewhere in that. Let's just go with over 30 periods into this season where they're 2-10-1, where they've allowed double-digit shots allowed. They've been outshot, I think, well over 30 periods out of the 36 that they've played. So, must be nice. It's they really need to get their crap going. I know it's I don't know. It's one of those things that just it's like, what can you do offensively to change this team around? Because it seems like, they're getting hemmed in their own zone. They're having a tough time clearing pucks out. Through 13 games, Mark, what have you seen from the Sharks that are like that have caught your mind, and especially now in these last two games, what do you think has been the turnaround for them?
Well, without even diving yet into the goaltending, which I think we're all kind of excited about a little bit, I think the big thing, and you're seeing it this year, is just that there's nothing coming from the back, right? And that's kind of what led into that trade that we had alluded to a little bit earlier. But there's just no offense from the back. When you look at our defensemen, and let's be real, even though 2 wins in a row, our defense is a joke. And offense starts from the back, right? And while a lot of people coming into this season thought a few of the moves we made was going to result in maybe some more scoring up front, we haven't seen that early on. And I think a lot of that is because we're pretty much icing, 6 AHL caliber defensemen on some nights and maybe another borderline bottom pairing couple guys. But so what does Greer do? He makes a trade, brings in a guy who's a little bit more offensively minded, and I think it's a good move. I think we're all a little bit excited about that, right?
Thank God.
Yeah, but in reality, I think that's been the issue.
Right.
Getting pucks out of the zone, breakout passes. There's no one to carry the puck up the ice like we had with Carlson last year, right?
Right. And so, and I think I teased Jules with this on the trade show yesterday. It's like, so this guy is supposed to be a righty-handed defenseman, supposed to be wonders on the power play. Oh, so that's what we get. I'm like, maybe not. But, I mean, it's nice to have some sort of a guy, because I think they mentioned on the broadcast tonight that Kyle Burrows was quarterbacking the power play.
Yeah.
And prior to the year, it was like 13 seconds on the power play. What the heck?
No, he's not a power play quarterback, that's for sure.
That's, yeah. As Chance the Rapper would say, that's a no. Let's get to a couple of the super chat donations. Creepy Coop, thank you for your $10 super chat. I feel like the shots are misleading the past 2 games. We haven't been totally hemmed in like we have the whole season, but we do struggle to shoot when we're not in the offensive zone.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a little bit more fair, but I do still think the Sharks are being outplayed when you look at the offensive zone time, and getting shots on net. That's a key ingredient, right? That's a key ingredient to hockey, is getting shots through, getting shots on net. So while it may not feel like they're being trapped in the zones like those 10-1 and 10-2 games, I think, there's something to say for a team that still gets 41 pucks on goal, right?
Oh yeah, and it's a tough part. Puck possession in your own zone, clearing out of your own zone, has been a thing. And I documented it, early on in the season, where they were, the defense would be out there for almost 2 minutes at a time, where they just can't get it out, and it becomes a struggle. And when you have that struggle, it just wears you down emotionally and physically, and it ended up being in the back of the net eventually. So. Another super chat from Swift Shark 13. Thank you very much. Team Tank, do not fear. I'm not concerned about a 5-game winning streak happening when we are getting doubled up on shots most nights. Glad you guys have something positive to chat about for a change. We appreciate that. And trust me, there were times where, when I saw those 2 games against Vancouver and Pittsburgh, Mark, and it's just like, man, maybe they can go 81-1.
Those teams looked like it was possible, not gonna lie. Like, I was watching those games and I was just like, is this an NHL team? Like, what are we watching here? This is terrible. But hey, the Greer conversation with the players, it has turned things around. They've rallied a bit. So it's only 2 games. It's some fun for us to enjoy here in what's been a very tough start to the season. But listen, I respect the effort. That's what I care about.
Right. And I think the effort has definitely taken a full 180, especially after Greer talked to them over the weekend. So it's interesting. Marty T saying it's going to be a cold day in Edmonton tomorrow, to which I say, what else is new? However, Ian comes back with, our good friend Ian, how can it be cold, Marty, when all the seats are hot? I mean, let's talk about that flip of a change. Jay Woodcroft, who was an assistant manager, what is he, a retail store worker? Was an assistant coach under Todd McClellan. You have to wonder now, at 2-9-1, you lose to one of the worst teams in the league, and it's like, what on earth can the Oilers do? I don't know what you can do.
Changes have to be brewing there. You have to think something's got to be switched up there. Like, this is a team that was coming into the season that was predicted to be among the cup contenders, right? Mm-hmm. And they're down there with us, the laughingstock of the league, apparently. So, yeah, I mean, how long does he last? How long does he last if this continues?
If I'm Ken Holland, yeah, right. If I'm Ken Holland, are you calling Mike Greer tonight and ask for Mackenzie Blackwood?
Right? I mean,
first round pick, Ken Holland. First round pick for Mackenzie Blackwood. I'm just saying. Just putting it out there. With salary retained back while we take back Campbell. There we go.
Yeah. And the thing is, that would be actually a great trade for us, obviously, if it ever happened. But part of me would really hurt because I've really enjoyed what Blackwood has done so far this season. And it's nice to watch that.
And he's played fantastic, even though the numbers have been awful considering the blowouts lately and the lack of goal support. Even tonight, getting 3 goals. I think it was like, I saw on the broadcast, I think it was like, and Brody, if you're watching, the Sharks in the last 9 games prior to tonight were scoring goals 2 or fewer. You're welcome, Brody. Jerry F. We got a lot of super chats all of a sudden. Jerry F. Thanks for the great coverage as usual. These 2 Sharks wins do feel awesome. And then Creepy Coop, thank you again. I think the shots and possession time will get better as we get softer parts of the schedule. We have played possession behemoths besides like the 2 teams so far. Yeah, totally. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And we're getting some chat comments from the locker room now. Thank you, AJ. Mario Ferraro. Oh, boy. My dad was here for the Philly game, too. My girlfriend might not like it, but he might have to hang around a little bit. He can't leave until we lose, so we'll see. We'll see if they get along. Oh, boy.
Dad's bringing the good vibes.
Yeah. Dad's bringing good vibes and no pressure. No pressure.
Got a little 2-game road trip coming up. Is it maybe the dad's road trip? Bring him along for the ride?
Right. I mean, hey, let's see. Vegas and Anaheim. Go to the Vegas Strip and then head to Disneyland. That's a pretty solid weekend, I gotta say. So
I like it.
Yeah, for sure.
And what happens if they beat Vegas?
Oh man.
Suddenly
If
the
they
hockey world explodes.
if they beat Vegas, it's just gonna go like. I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
I mean,
getting too excited here.
I mean, as much as we're excited about these two wins, it was Philly and Edmonton beat Vegas, which they played well on opening night against. Man, I don't know. That'll be crazy. So, yeah, and Bert's 7F91. The injuries have yet to pile up. I'm sure they're coming. They've been banged up too, though. I mean, Couture's still out.
Yeah.
Barabanov,
Two of our better players right there up front.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing it without them, and you might still be unsure about Granlund. So we'll see on that. Plus, Jacob McDonald went to injured reserve yesterday to make room for Caden Addison. Speaking of which, anything that stood out to you tonight with him as he made his Sharks debut?
I think he's getting his feet wet with the team. Definitely looked like he's got some smooth passing and some smooth skating. I only saw him on the one power play, so it was really hard to gauge what kind of impact he's going to have there. Mm-hmm. But no, it's going to take a few games for him to kind of fit in with the team, I think. I am excited about the move overall, and I think what we gave up for him is an absolute, that could be a steal of a trade. Like, I'm not going to toot his horn too much yet because he hasn't done anything yet with us, but we gave up a pick 3 years from now, and it's not even an early pick, it's a later round pick. And then Raska, who I was a fan of for a while, and I do like the kind of player that he is, but he's an expendable player. So I think it's a great move by Greer. I really like to see that kind of move too, because it's just it's a bit of a steal, I think, in the current sense. And I'm excited to see what Addison will do, because we do need that defenseman who can carry the puck, good breakout passes, as well as kind of manning the point on the power play.
Yeah, it's a need that maybe they don't have ready to go just yet. I mean, I know there always talk like, oh, maybe Mika Medulin could be that guy, or Henry Thrun. It's like, let them have their marinating time with the CUDA. Having Addison here, and only 23 for that matter,
yep.
is has a potential to help out in the long run in the end. And speaking of defense, AJ, thank you. Sharks finished with 35 blocked shots versus the Oilers, for most by a team in a game since the Oilers had 35 against the Kings in 2017. So laying down the blocking is nice, but yeah, you have 35 block shots, Mark, and then you add on another 41
on goal. Exactly. That's a lot of shot attempts.
to which Jesse L says, the team is still getting caved in, and all these shots and blocks are going to lead to injuries. Yeah, I mean it will wear this team over the time, So, Dana, love you. I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow. They can pry Blackwood from my cold dead hands. Oh boy, it's been fun. Brian Heehaw, here for the Oilers turmoil.
We can all celebrate around that.
Right? Oh, man. This is interesting. As Jay Woodcroft and Dave Manson will walk off the ice after the Oilers lost to San Jose, Woodcroft appears to say that might be it, to Manson, who appears to respond with yup. Wow.
Change is coming? Question mark?
Change is coming. All right, we will have a standby for anything coming out of the Edmonton Twitter. Keep us posted, chat. If that happens, that wouldn't be surprising for that. And Ian, you did mention this before. I think you mentioned on Twitter. I'm sorry you missed yesterday. Wiseprak greater than Raska, and that might be why he was expendable.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a more talented player, and he provides some of that similar role where he can be physical. He's a bit of a pest for opponents, and I think he definitely has the higher upside. Like Raska at best was probably going to top out as like a third liner, low end third liner, more likely like just a fourth liner in the NHL. Whereas I think Weissblatt has, the skating is definitely noticeable there, as well as some of the other abilities that he's got.
Yeah. Ian did say, I did love Raska, though. I know you did. You really liked him. He'll be missed. He'll be headed to Iowa for sure. From Ryan Nugent Hopkins, I don't think it's a loss of confidence. We're battling through something together, and we're working our asses off, and we're not finding ways to score. It's tough, man. I mean, who do you bring in if Woodcroft would get, as AJ would say, the Spanish archer? I mean, what, Bruce Boudreau? I mean, who goes to Edmonton? I don't know who you can.
Yeah, and I mean, in reality, I'm not worried about Edmonton in terms of like really the whole tankathon thing. I do think at some point they will figure it out. Even if they decide to stick with Woodcroft, I think they would figure it out. You just can't have talents like McDavid and Draisaitl on your team, and a few of the other players as well, and not figure it out. But I think, you look at their start with 2 wins through these games. It's just the exact opposite of what you expected. And usually that results in like either, okay, we don't think the players are hearing the coach, something has to change, and it's not going to be like, they're not going to trade McDavid, right? Like
Right.
they're not doing that. So it's going to be a coach or something like that, switching it up.
You trade half the top 6 if it's if McDavid and Draisaitl were available, and then there would be a revolt in Edmonton. I mean, there might be a riot at the West Edmonton Mall in there. From Leon Draisaitl, I don't really know what to say. We tend to shoot out. Excuse me. Let's try that again. I don't really know what to say. We tend to outshoot other teams consistently, but we probably outchance other teams consistently. Wow, I can talk tonight. But it's not in sync right now. Like me talking. Feels disappointing. Oh man.
Yeah, teams go through these these periods. It's tough, and they're obviously under a pretty large microscope down there or up there in Edmonton.
Yeah.
So the pressure is on. They're feeling the weight of these losses for sure.
Right. I mean, and they were many experts to come out of the West the last couple of years for sure. Woodcroft would say we gave up 16 shots again. We've done that a few times this year. I think we've had in 92 shot attempts we were able to find an answer. We chased the game, and there were some costly errors.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think that's gonna be it. Our power play is indicative of the entire offensive game. We got some shooters that aren't shooting at the typical rate. It hasn't been anywhere near what we're capable of, and yeah, that's the tough part. Is it Oilers got goalied? I mean,
somewhat.
Yeah. I mean, they've been on a good run lately, and plus maybe it's the tendencies. We all know what McDavid and Draisaitl can do together or separately. So it could be, knowing what's going on. So, yeah. And as for Woodcroft on his job, I'm worried about taking care of my daily business, my daily process, and making sure I give my players something to focus on and concentrate on. No one is happy where we're at. Yeah. And
gotta love those questions, right? Imagine being asked all the time if you feel like you're gonna lose your job that day.
Yeah, I mean, like last week when David Quinn gets asked, I think it was Shing, and the question has to be asked. Yeah, are you worried? And I was like, yeah, I haven't worried. I have McDavid and Draisaitl. Wouldn't you be worried?
Yeah, you can't have that record with those two in your lineup.
It's man.
Yeah.
And Ian's like, it's unfair that Cuda don't play the Condors until the end of December. Hopefully Jack Campbell will still be there. We'll see. So everything is up rosy and everything. The Sharks have won 2 in a row. We're looking good, gang. Oh crap, we got to go to Vegas tomorrow. Shit. Taki. Oh,
Could be a
man.
little bit of rain on the parade.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah. I mean, so that's why we enjoy these wins. We take them uh, and enjoy them when we can because they're going to be few and far between. I mean, yes, it's risking our tankathon, but we're just into November 9th, gang. We will worry about tankathon a little bit.
Yeah, we got a lot of months of that to go, but these are the little moments that make a tankathon season, enjoyable. It makes it worth it, right? Like the 10-1 losses, the 10-2 games, those aren't fun. But a couple wins here and there, seeing some effort from the boys, grinding it out, I like it.
And,
This gets it going.
and to have that turnaround where they've been coming all together and doing the job, and standing up for your teammates. Like you saw Smith Tuesday night against Philly get into a fight and such. You're not doing what you were doing last week where you hung out Kakinen to dry after Kuzmenko scores, and then it's Kuzmenko of all people that's checking on your goaltender.
The opposing team was surrounding him.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. Terrible.
It's like,
you can't have
yeah, I just beat you in a score. Oh, are you okay? Like, come on, guys. So,
not a good look.
No. Look, Felix thing. Just take the wins while we can. Yes, of course. Yep. Prospect wise, I know I'm kind of throwing you on the spot here. Who have you been excited about so far? I when I've talked to Jules, it's definitely Musty. Lately it's Cagnani in Portland. What says
another
you?
4 points the other night? Yeah. I've mostly been watching so far to start the season some of the college players. I've watched a few BC games with Will Smith. I like what I'm seeing. I think he's progressing each game. He's looking a bit better. Early on in the first few games, some of the decisions I thought were a little bit questionable, but he's still producing. And I think one of the things that I've noticed a bit is some of the away from the puck play needs to improve. But I also think that's somewhat some of his game. You have someone like Ryan Leonard, who everyone also saw kind of in the draft last year, and they're both on the same team, same line, and he's more of like a hound. He's constantly on the puck. He's got a motor. He's kind of like that Ferraro motor, whereas Smith's kind of like lurking at times, it looks like. But then once the puck comes to him, it completely changes. So I'm watching Smith a decent amount. I've been watching some of the Northeastern guys with Lund, however it's pronounced, and Michael Fisher. Fisher hasn't quite lived up to what I was hoping for, but he is technically a freshman, even though he played a couple years in junior before this. So watching them, but hoping to get a few more games in with some of the juniors guys. Loving the production right now. Like you said, Cagnoni, he's been going nuts. And then also we've got Musty, Haltonen. So those guys have been doing very well. Like pretty much our entire 2023 draft class up top has been really strong. So taking in some of those games, but we also have to look forward to, we're only a month away from the World Juniors and the championships, right?
Right.
So, and I think this year the Sharks could have anywhere from like 6 to 8 players there, depending on, who's healthy. So that will definitely be something that everyone wants to tune into. We got our Swedes, we've got Smith, we got Musty. These guys are going to be there, and they're not going to just be there. They're going to produce. So that could be a really fun tournament for Sharks fans to watch.
Big time. And usually we get like maybe one to keep an eye on. Now you can have a plethora of guys on a number of teams doing their magic. So that's going to be fun to see. Where is the World Juniors this year?
I don't know.
Is it overseas? I thought it was Americas, because I thought it was in Canada last year. But I digress here. While you look that up, I will go look at that. Quinn has said he's going to have Kakinen start tomorrow, so Kakinen's doing good. Yeah, a reporter. It just feels like no one's going right now. And Drysdale says, "Great observation." Well, okay, so they're a little testy right now, and this probably doesn't help. David Quinn saying Tommy Hertl was a man tonight. That line was very good. Interesting comments there. Quinn said he's not tempted to go back to Blackwood tomorrow. He said he'd be arrested for abuse of a goalie. Look at him being a jokester all of a sudden. Oh, boy. Oh.
Sweden. World Junior Championships are in Sweden, it looks like.
Okay. Should be fun. That should be fun in Sweden over. And let's not also forget Quentin Musty in Sudbury, now that I think of it. Just because I've rewatched Shoresy season 2 over and over again, I keep thinking of Sudbury. And
I've not checked that out yet.
You haven't?
No, I'm looking forward to it though.
Have you done season 1?
Yes, I've done season 1.
Season 2 is pretty awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't wait. All the chirps. The chirps will be enjoyable, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, Musty's producing though in Sudbury. He's doing well.
Yeah. Creepy Coop is Havlet from Sweden? Yes. I believe so.
Yeah, Havlet and Beestead should both be there. I'm assuming if they're healthy at the time, they should be there.
Yeah. So it'll be Sharks represented all over the place. We'll keep an eye on that. Poor Ian, he's probably going to be watching that as well. Same time with the CUDA and the Sharks.
CUDA, Sharks, World Junior Championships.
Forget Boxing Day. Yeah. We'll just have Ian. No, I'm kidding, Ian. We love you, bud. So the Sharks win 3-2. Vegas, I'm sure they're getting on a flight tonight to head on over to Sin City for that contest tomorrow. I have to say they probably will have an optional skate on that, we got a draft question. We haven't gotten to the 24 draft, Mark, but any thoughts on the 25 draft, Hagens or Misa?
That's too far in advance. I'm scouting all the 2024 people. Are you kidding me? But be excited that we might have 4 picks in the top 33 if everything works out right. Right. We need the Penguins to finish anywhere from 11 to 14 or 15. That would be ideal. Then the Devils need to make the conference final, and then even if the Senators maybe give up their first rounder this year, that moves our second round pick another pick or 2 earlier. So let's be excited about that. 2025 is a long way off. A lot can happen between now and then.
Yes, no, it's going to be a fun one. Plus, you talk about Beestead, you talk about Havlet, who are overseas. You kind of miss chatting about or thinking about them because they are overseas. They're not within the time zones and doing things, which is always helpful and always hopeful for the future of this team, even though, you have to sit through the pain right now. So Hertl on Eklund and Zetterlund. They keep working like that. They have big futures. I'm here to help them. I definitely had fun the last 2 games to play with them. Thank you, David Quinn, for finally doing it.
About time. It's looking like a good trio right now. Yeah. Hopefully it sticks that way for at least a period of time. But I really do like Eklund and Hertl together. And I think that's part of one of my concerns earlier in the season was I don't want Eklund to get bogged down with, 10-1 losses, 10-2, lose confidence. You're not really feeling the game. Whereas you put him with Hertl, I feel like even in a game where we lose, say 5-3 or 4-3, they might still be able to produce and play well and build his confidence, which I think is big. He's not the franchise type player probably, but he's going to be a big piece in the rebuild, and we want him to develop. So you got to be careful with that. So it's nice to see him, fitting in with Hertl, and I think Hertl's the right guy to have him with.
Yeah, definitely. I thought some sort of a mentor of sorts, even though Hertl is 10 years into his career for that, for sure. So with that, I think we can wrap this bad boy up. In case you missed anything, or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, wherever you get your podcasts. Of course, if you're watching us on YouTube right now, make sure you like it, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so when we do go on the air, you get notified. Or if there are news breaks, like yesterday's Kalen Addison trade, we will be on the air shortly to break it all down. So with that, Mark, I know it's late. It's about to be 2 a.m. over where you're at. So, but you're still smiling. You're going to go to bed smiling and celebrating that the Sharks have won 2 games in a row, something I don't think we were even expecting. But your final thoughts on this night?
Mackenzie Blackwood. That's my final thought. Love that guy. Loving what I'm seeing from him. He needs to keep this up.
Yeah. And for the Sharks, they need to give him some goal support, man, because he's been helping you out big time.
Absolutely. He's been the MVP. If there could be one in a 2-10-1 start, he's the MVP.
I know AJ and Jerk mentioned it on Puck Knowledge. It's like, who would be their all-star? And I'm thinking
Mackenzie Blackwood.
It's like, they were in a battle for finding goaltenders for the All-Star game last year for the Pacific Division. I mean, like, I'm guessing that it would be maybe him. I don't know. We'll see on that one. So, all right. You can find him at MarkyMarkSJS on the X platform. You can find me on the Twitter and the Instagram at PuckGuy14 or any social media for that matter. We will be back with you tomorrow, Friday night, as the Sharks take on... Ah, crap, it's the Vegas Golden Knights. Great. Okay. Well, that should be fun. Enjoy these smiles that we have on our faces right now. It might change in about
short-lived, maybe.
So with that, thanks to everybody for watching. We appreciate each and every one with you. And until tomorrow, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Have a great night, everyone. Sharks win a second game in a row. Bask in it really quick before we even play Vegas. Take care, everyone. Have a good night.